If I gave you $30,000, do you think you could turn it into a multi-million-dollar hobby business? Well, in 2016, Nate Burns started Grand Slam Collectibles.
Took everything I had and I put it into that small little store, said, hey, let's just see what happens.
Nate took the risk and he jumped all in with $30,000 in his pocket. And 9 years later, he has one of the most thriving sports card businesses in the entire United States. Let's go hear his story. Oh my goodness. Nate.
Hey, what's going on, man? How are you?
What is this, sports card paradise in here?
Kid's dream, childhood dream, man, yeah.
Tell the world what I just walked into.
Just walked into Grand Slam Collectibles here in Murfreesboro, and this is the Pokemon section over here, so you'll see a lot of people.
Yeah.
Pokemon's really popular, but sports cards, and people just come down here and hang out, bus packs.
The door's nonstop. It's a revolving door.
Yeah.
Is that common?
It is. Saturdays, Fridays, Saturdays, Sundays, we'll have 40, 50 people in here at a time. Yeah.
Incredible.
I know. Far from I think there was a day I did $1.10. The first month or two I was open, I did $1.10 9 years ago, so.
9 years ago. So you've been open for 9 years.
That's right.
In this location?
In this same shopping center. We were over here in a small little corner. Then we moved over there to a decent spot, and then we moved here about 6 months ago.
Wow. Well, I'm super excited to hear your story. I want you to give me the tour first. Show me kind of what's happening in here, and then we'll just dig into your story.
All right, cool. This is literally where it all started. I was 7 years old. Pretty much 40 years of my life now has been dedicated to sports cards, and this is literally where it all began.
No kidding. All right, so yeah, you and I can share in this same era. So I recognize a lot of this stuff. This is like late 80s, early 90s junk wax.
Yeah.
But
if I'd have walked into a store like this when I was 12, I would have wanted a job. I would have wanted to work here. This is something that I really couldn't even dream up.
Incredible. On this wall, what's the one or two products you if you're gonna open a pack right now, what do you go grab?
Probably 90 Upper Deck to try to find the Reggie Jackson autograph.
Oh, okay.
91 Upper Deck to find the Nolan Ryan or the Michael Jordan basketball rookie.
So you grew up as a collector,
right?
You never let go of the hobby?
No. There was always a fire burning, and I think that's something that your higher power is going to put inside you. You know, if you hear that, it's not going to come screaming at you, but there was always this whisper, and I had to do other things to make a living. I had twin little boys, so I had to have a job that made enough money, but this was kind of a side job for decades. I just kept at it, and eventually I hit a couple licks, and I took everything I had, and I put it into that small little store and said, hey, let's just see what happens.
No way.
Yeah, that's what happened.
So this is in 2015?
2016.
2016.
Uh-huh.
What was that conversation like with your wife? And you said, hey, honey, we're gonna do something here.
At the time, my wife at the time knew that I'd always wanted to do this.
Okay. And
I had earned the right to do it with the extra money that I was working through cards, and she was just like, yeah, she was supportive of it. And you got to remember, back in 2016, I think we were the only store in the entire country that opened. I do not think there was another card. So if you really stop and think about it, that I'm pretty sure is accurate. There may be one that I don't know about, but we start there. So my goal was maybe to make $50,000 a year for the rest of my life, but be able to do what I love, go to work every day happy, go on vacation when I want, go to lunch when I want. That was, the freedom of being able to do what I want, how I want, was all that mattered.
So that first year, you're grinding it out. What's the conversation like? What are you feeling? At what point did you think, okay, this is gonna work versus there's no way this is gonna work?
Yeah. I had convinced myself this was my last chance to do what I loved. That wasn't true looking back, but that's what I believed. So I just believed what Tony Robbins said. You have to burn the boats. There is nothing but success. I've got to find a way to succeed, or I'm gonna have to be a realtor the rest of my life. And I was a good realtor, but that's not what I'm passionate about. This day and age with social media, you can be successful anywhere, anytime. So once I realized social media was the key, it was over. Once we hit social media and started using it somewhat properly, we went from $10 days to $100,000 days.
No.
Yeah, easy. $100,000 days, no problem. Yes. And you think about that, I would have been happy selling $100,000 in a year.
You say unlocking with social media.
Right.
What does that mean in kind of real talk?
Sure.
For moms starting a new business,
Sure.
What is the unlock in social media?
People want to buy from people they know. People want to buy from people they feel like they know a little bit of their story. If you're able to share a little bit about your family, if people can feel people that are real and people that are kind of being fake or doing it for an ulterior motive. And if you can be real and not only share the good things, but share the bad things, people identify with that and it draws them towards you. That's what I learned. It wasn't a grand master plan, right? It was just, I was just being myself and the numbers it was just snowballing. And so looking back, I'm able to tell someone if they're out there and they want to start a fast food restaurant or whatever it is, that it is truly possible this day and age to be successful anywhere, doing anything through social media.
This has got to be my favorite
Yeah.
case here. What's happening right here?
It's Jordan, Kobe, and Curry. Those are the three. Obviously, everybody likes LeBron too, so there's a LeBron ball, but those are my three favorites. So we wanted to make sure when we built the new store that we had a showcase that was just like this. We just wanted it to be almost like a museum where people can come in more than just buying cards, can come in and enjoy them.
How did you acquire these? What's kind of your strategy with stuff like this?
Pretty much all of these, I would say, they came through the big shows. Me and Sherry, my wife, we'll travel to Burbank, the National, Dallas. We travel to 10 or 12 big shows a year. That's where you're transacting more of these things. The things that come in the store are more couple $1,000 cards to 10,000. Very rarely does something like this come in, but we get quite a few that come in that are the smaller deals. But these are more, they're really getting tougher to find because over in China they love Jordan, Kobe, and Curry, and there's not a price. Like I've learned through the market. Even when it's exploded, they will not sell. It's just, it's not a money thing to them. I respect it, but if you sell a card over there, it's gone.
Yeah.
What I try to do is I try to buy things that I enjoy. And that way, if it goes down in value, I have something I enjoy. And if it goes up in value, then I have options. Do I want to sell it? Do I want to keep it? So you'll see the biggest cards we have are Brady, Jordan, Kobe. If they go down, I love those guys. So that's my strategy. I have friends that have made more money in this than me as far as the big cards. I'm more of a conservative card shop owner guy, and I'll buy one or two here and there. And it's just, what I try to do is maybe buy a card that when I was in college, I couldn't afford. Maybe there were only 23 copies of it. I've never even seen the card. And then now I see, versions of them on the auction, and I'll buy one just because I couldn't.
Yeah. So I see a lot of six-figure cards. You also mentioned real estate.
Yeah.
What you did before this.
Yes.
I'm starting to see the connection of just learning how to handle large deals and the negotiation. How much of your background played into your success here, do you think?
Pretty much. And I think that's something that we haven't even talked about was people don't understand. This is my second go around as a card shop owner.
Oh.
Back in around 2000, I opened a little office on the Court Square here in town. It just had 2 showcases and my big computer for eBay, right? And I was making money, but I wasn't making enough money to raise a family. My wife at the time was pregnant with twins. So I set it to the side and I got a job selling cars. And one of the toughest 1.5 to 2 years of my life. I did not enjoy doing that, but you do what you got to do, right?
Totally.
So I went and got into real estate.
Okay.
And if you can sell vehicles, you can sell real estate easy. So sold real estate for about 10, 11 years, 12 years, something like that. Yeah, 12 years, from 04 to 16. That's when I took the leap into the store, and then haven't sold a home since, other than the ones I live in. Had I not failed to begin with when I was a youngster, we would not be sitting here talking right now. It was, so I guess what I'm trying to say is if someone's failed at something, right? Like maybe you came up just a little bit short. You just never know how close you were to making it or being successful. I would say there's people out there that failed 8, 10 times, and the 11th time they made it. Don't give up just because you came up a little short. It's tuition. It's a lesson. Had I quit, I would be out showing houses right now.
So where are we at now? This is the warehouse?
Yeah, this is the back room. Not everybody gets to view all this, but this is kind of the madness of where we're at now, considering where we started. But back room where we ship, where we store a lot of our inventory. As you can see, we have quite a bit of inventory. For a store that space, you're going to need quite a bit of inventory.
No kidding. How much has this grown over the years?
Oh, I mean, it's one of those things that we wouldn't even buy a single case of cards. I would buy, like Southern Hobby, I would order a box or two of cards. And as you can see, there's thousands of boxes of unopened cards. So it's probably 1,000 times. And, I think what's important is that to remember that you don't start here, right? Like nobody should think that, unless you have millions of dollars, and even if you do, you're not gonna work the way someone like we would work, right? You got to have the passion, and then you can start with a box, right? And then it turns into 2 boxes, and then 4 boxes. And I'm telling you that we're proof that it can happen. So that's what's important to us, is to let other people know that, hey, don't compare like, I don't really like it. A guy will reach out to me a lot. Hey, I'm opening a store. Will you sit down with me? Of course, sit down. And we start talking, and they're wanting to compare themselves with us. And I'm like, you need to compare yourself with us on day 1, not day 5,000 or 3,000. It's not the same. You're going to get discouraged, right?
Totally. What was the capital like trying to start this business? What did you have in your pocket to make it work? I'm guessing it wasn't a ton.
It wasn't. It was everything I had. It was $30,000. About $30,000 is what I had.
So this business started with $30,000 of your net worth.
Yes, and that's counting the inventory that I had. It was 30, and we just pushed all the chips in. There wasn't any big business loan or a parent that was it.
Trajectory. Give me that graph. Okay. $30,000 year 1. What was that climb like, and what were some of the bumps along the way where you're like, oh my gosh?
When you're a kid, you're just dreaming about being a card shop owner. You're not thinking about employees and shipping. I was a one-man show. So like what happened was in 16, we start with 30,000, we shove all in. We probably did just fine. That next year we were selling probably, in 2017, we started going on Facebook Live.
Okay.
And at that time, there was nobody on Facebook Live for sports cards. It was ladies shucking pearls, and there was a couple of genres doing it, but there were no sports cards. They were on YouTube or Breakers TV.
Okay.
I said, let's go where the money's at. Middle-aged guys are going to be on Facebook. So we went there. At first, there would be 2 or 3 people watching, and one was probably my mom. Then 8 or 10. And then before you know it, it was just one night it started going 60 people, 70 people. And it got up to where we had like 2,400 people watching us at a time.
Auctions, fixed price. What were you selling on Facebook?
We'd do auctions for cards. We'd sell boxes of cards. It just kind of exploded on us. So anything I could get my hands on, like the wall would be full, and then we'd sell it all. I'd reorder from Southern Hobby and do it again 2 nights later.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Yeah, so cash flows up, down, and then explodes in 2018. Multi-million-dollar business now.
Correct, yeah.
That's incredible.
If you ask me, hey Nate, would you rather have this raw or this? I would rather have this, but it's not much more value. You know what I'm saying? It's just to protect it.
So I just saw you doing a deal.
Yeah.
Do you already have them priced?
I do. Quick turnaround on higher dollar stuff. I get them priced and out.
So you just did a deal with a customer that walked in to sell you something?
Yeah, he came from 4 hours away. He was in town for business and brought us some Kobe autos, Ovechkin, Connor McDavid.
Just the big names.
Yeah, stuff like this, you're going to have to pay. You're going to have to pay up. So this is one, quick turns or what I'm looking for on stuff like this.
Got it. So let's enter the mind of a shop owner at this point, right? You do this deal right here. What are the economics of a deal like that? What are you trying to achieve?
What I'm trying to achieve is a win-win.
Okay.
Every deal I do, if both people aren't happy, it really shouldn't be done, right? I'm trying to get it for the lowest I can and you be happy, and they're trying to get the most they can get and me be happy, right? So on something like this, it's more of kind of a tap dance
Sure.
to see where, it's somebody's trying to throw out a number and go from there. But on stuff like this, you're not getting this stuff for, 50, 60%. You're going to have to pay anywhere. If you're lucky, 70, 80% is going to be really good on stuff like this because it sells so quickly. And it's so popular.
You're paying 80% of the market value, which, how do you determine that in your store?
Just experience. There'll be a few things, the more rare items, you have to dig a little bit more. But for the most part, run-of-the-mill stuff, if you've done this your whole life, you're going to have an idea about what it's worth. You might check yourself, but just a little bit of research.
Yeah, that makes sense. So in terms of the finagling these types of deals, what have you learned over the years to kind of make customers happy? Is it balancing out, mixing in store credit? Is it, throwing in boxes? How do you, what's the skill set that you've acquired over the years for this?
It's the same thing you do in life, and you treat people the way you want to be treated, right? When I was younger, that extra 5% or 10% made a big difference to me, right? I looked at it as, if I can get an extra 5 or 10%, that's 5% but that's not necessarily the case. Sometimes if you try to take too much out of a deal from someone, they might sell it to you, but they leave resentful. They leave with a bad taste in their mouth. So what I try to do is if we're talking about Kobe Bryant autographs, I'm going to pay up the extra 5 or 10%. And it's because I want people to feel good about dealing with me, right? It's just not worth it in the long run.
How important is taking an inventory from customers to the lifeblood of Grand Slam?
Yeah, that's it's very important. And if you don't treat people the way you want to be treated, they're not going to come in and it's going to get around fast. This day and age and in this industry, people aren't going to want to deal with you, right? So again, that's why, you're not just looking at, okay, I'm buying this card, I'm paying a little bit too much. There's a little bit more to it than that. He might tell a friend that brings in a 52 Mantle, and 85% of a Mickey Mantle is a whole lot. There's a lot of meat on the bone at 58%. So it's very important. Without it, we would have to travel more. What do you need a big storefront for? If you're just going to open packs online and sell things online, you don't need a big storefront. So bringing it in to answer your question, it's very important.
Yeah, well, you like seeing cards all day too, so that helps.
Yeah.
So I see a lot of Pokemon. I mean, you got Japanese Pokemon here.
Yeah, Japanese, English Pokemon. I mean, I think that's what's important for people, no matter what industry you're in. Whatever you have to do to keep your dream alive. I mean, if it means selling Japanese Pokemon, that's exactly what I'm going to do.
You're going to sell Japanese.
Yeah, always remember, as a small business owner, you're always trying to adjust, adapt, whatever you want to call it. But if you stay doing the same thing that worked in 2000, you're going to be selling like McAfee software. You know what I mean? Like, think about it. Like, that company has to change or it's gone. And so, hey, who knows, 10 years from now, we may not even be selling sports cards. You just never know. The thing that I've learned is, you are only going to be able to take your business so far. And unless you hire people that are more intelligent than you, you're going to stay at your level, right? So if I don't know Pokemon, like Louise, he's like the Nate of sports cards in the Pokemon world. Like, I trust him. It's one of those things where that's the thing that I've had to learn, because everybody's different, right? So you're not just, you're a psychologist. There's a lot of things going on when you start hiring people, but if you get the right ones, it can make your life a whole lot easier. Their family's better off and your family's better off. And that's what's important. Seeing my guys, like a couple of our employees got new cars. Like we literally bought our employees new cars.
Stop.
Yeah, no, handed them the keys. I didn't give them anything. They earned it. I can assure you, everybody that works here, they're all in motion if you look around. My employees, I expect a lot, but with that said, you might end up with a brand new car. You might end up with your house, down payment paid. And again, it's where we go back to the win-win, right?
Totally.
If, we don't really have employees quit, but it's because we treat them the way you want to be treated. Very rarely does someone actually quit. That's important to me, because when I was on the other side, right?
Yeah. You know what it feels like. So everyone's thinking, where do I apply to work for you? Do I put the link in the show notes?
No, we're good right now. We got 10, we're good. But if somebody messes up, we'll need a spot. But yeah, no, we're good. We've got 10 now, and they're all pretty good dudes, man. It's a blessing. It's something that I couldn't even dream up as a kid. I just couldn't. This wasn't something that I dreamed up. This is something that has evolved into something more that my wife has helped me develop.
Well, you are an inspiration, not just for sports cards enthusiasts and hobbyists, but also small business owners that are watching and seeing your story. I appreciate you letting us hang out with you today, man.
I appreciate you guys coming.
Yeah, that was incredible. I loved hearing Nate's passion to pursue his hobby at all costs. And hopefully you left us some nuggets so that you can go pursue your hobby as well. Take care.